Well, hello there.
How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Solid day. It's, the week is going through. I don't know. I'm just saying things.
You're tired. It's been a long day.
I'm very tired. It's been a long day.
Whereas I have had the week off.
Yeah, so Rob's going to be the fresher one today, and I'm going to be flying by the seat of my sweatpants. But we're here for a second round of our theories. Do you want to talk about what it is we're doing? What are we theorizing?
We are theorizing. We were going to be theorizing about casting for the upcoming Mutant / X-Men film, whatever that may be. But I think all of our brains just stopped when we saw the Black Panther trailer. So theorizing about what possibly will be happening there.
Yeah, it was so good, and we were like, well, it's coming up, so we should do that. Also because I don't know when we're going to get we have theories maybe surrounding that within here, but I don't know when we're actually going to get X-Men, because who'd you have left? You'd have like Squirrel Girl, Gambit.
Can I just say, quick aside, I don't know why you keep referencing Squirrel Girl as an X-Man. Not a single comic book reader on the planet would ever think of Squirrel Girl as an X-Man.
Isn't she a mutant?
She's a mutant, but she's an Avenger.
I'm talking about X-Men and mutants.
She's more Avengers related. No one would ever classify her as an X-Man.
But, okay, I will ask you this question. Did Marvel own the rights to her before the 20th Century Fox merger?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's get started. We have 5 theories regarding the new Black Panther movie, Wakanda Forever, that is slated to come out in November. Is it the end of November? I think it's the end.
Fuck knows.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out. In November, and what we know is that obviously, elephant in the room, and we'll get to that, T'Challa won't be in it because Chadwick Boseman unfortunately passed, RIP. And so that's obviously going to be a story element. We know that Namor is going to be in it, aka Marvel's Aquaman. Or is Aquaman DC's Namor? Who came first?
You're testing me here. I want to say Namor was first, but I can't.
I think you once told me that Namor was the original one.
He was the second Marvel hero after the original Human Torch, but I'm pretty sure they both debuted in the exact same comic. So he was only second by the fact that he was a few pages later.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, so without further ado, shall we get started?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so our very first theory, I don't even know if it's a full theory, but it is something we wanted to discuss. So like I mentioned, T'Challa has passed, or Chadwick Boseman unfortunately passed after a long battle with cancer. And it's honestly just extremely sad, but it is something that is going to have to be dealt with within the story. So all of that grieving, all of that sadness, all of that questioning is going to have to continue or happen again, really, in the movie's context, because as far as the MCU is aware, Black Panther and T'Challa are still alive and well. And so the number one theory and discussion that we wanted to start with is, how are they going to address it? Will it be an outright, this is what happened, here's a bit of a flashback, or is it going to be more of a, he's dead, let's see the reactions and kind of just infer it more than be really direct with it?
To be honest, the fact that it's quite clear from the trailer that they are going to be addressing T'Challa's passing in some way immediately put me at ease, because, as you know, Black Panther, the original, is my favourite MCU film, just bar none. I spoke about this with my friend Elliot and was comparing it to The Dark Knight, where at the end of The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's Joker kind of has that moment with Batman where they imply that, we'll be doing this forever, and the Joker's clearly you're going to be there to live another day and taunt Batman. And for that reason, I think The Dark Knight Rises has a Joker-shaped hole right in the center. Whenever they refer back to the events of The Dark Knight in Rises, it's Harvey Dent's fall from grace. Does no one talk about the Joker? And I get that they were trying to be respectful, but it doesn't.
They inferred to him.
No, they never refer to the Joker. They never refer to him, and the movie suffers for it. I think every plot thread that doesn't really work, in my opinion, in Rises, is because they're too afraid to properly address what happened in the previous movie, and the fact that they actually are going to address this, real life tragedy and work it into the emotional hook of the film immediately gives me hope that this film will be not only amazing, but also a great tribute to the hero and to the man.
That's not even a theory.
Yes.
I like that trailer. I imagine has already made so many people emotional. I
got
know it made
emotional.
you did. Yeah, you messaged me being like, "There's tears in my eyes," because. I mean, it's a great trailer, and I'm certainly hoping it'll be a good film too. I'm sure it will, because Ryan Coogler's at the helm again. I think as well, this film has probably the most amount of emotion and care and heart that has been in any MCU movie. And that's saying a lot with like Infinity War and Endgame, but I think the fact that Chadwick Boseman is no longer there and it's so like obvious and everyone loved him, I think that there's going to be so much just more in the subtext here. And I think that that's going to be extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Well, after that heavy element, which to be honest, that's how I'm probably going to feel in the theater after that heaviness.
Yeah, and after all that heaviness, I've materialized a comfort dog.
Yeah, literally an emotional support animal.
Yeah.
Do you reckon, I mean, we had my dog kind of milling around the first one. We have yours here. Are we just going to have a dog in all our theories videos?
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So that was theory number 1. Theory number 2, Rob, would you like to introduce it?
Yes. So theory number 2 is, well, I was thinking, okay, well, Black Panther 1, we are about showing the country, dealing with conflict within itself and then coming onto the world stage. So it made sense that film number 2 is about that country now at war with other fictional Marvel countries. So, I mean, of course, Atlantis and Wakanda are very much always at odds. But who else is in that in that circle? Which is Latveria, the country that Doctor Doom is the ruler of.
Old metal face.
Yes, Doctor Doom being the main villain of the Fantastic Four and really the main villain of Marvel Comics, really. When you get down to it.
You've said that about a few different people.
No, but like for the Doctor Doom, I mean it.
Okay.
Like, yeah. But don't question me.
I absolutely will. That's the point of
I
this.
sounded like Dr. Doom just then. Do not question me.
Yeah. So you think he's going to be introduced here? That's a lot of characters.
Yeah, well, I think because the thing is, Doctor Doom is so much bigger than just being the Fantastic Four villain. He is a villain of Black Panther, of Iron Man, of the Avengers. He shows up in like so many different forms, and I think that even people who don't like the Fantastic Four in the comic world all love Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have him show up in any form in an after credits scene, I think it's going to be this film.
Question, because I don't remember this. How long was the distance between Civil War and Black Panther? Was that a year? That was a year, wasn't it? 2 years.
Yeah, 2016 for Civil War and 2018 for Black Panther.
I guess that could actually work because that's what, Spider-Man and Black Panther were introduced in Civil War and then they got their own movies, and if that was a 2-year break, then this would also work. It would be exactly a 2-year break between the main movie he'd be in, which is Fantastic Four, and this movie. Yeah. However, I wonder, given his connection to Reed Richards, and how their origin is so entwined, like, will that still work if we learn about him? Because with Black Panther, you didn't really need an origin. It was like, he's the king and he has some flower juice and he becomes...
That could still work because as far as Doctor Doom's interconnection with Reed Richards is concerned, they were connected in their college days, and they didn't really, face each other.
They do it accurately.
They didn't really face each other as hero and villain until long after, not long after, but until after Reed Richards actually became Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, right.
So you could do that. You could have if Doctor Doom shows up, and then when we meet the Fantastic Four, when Doctor Doom rears his head, it's like, I remember Victor Von Doom. He was my college roommate briefly before he was a bit of a prick. Yeah.
Like an Iron Man 3.
Yeah, exactly.
But not like an Iron Man 3.
Not like Iron Man 3, no. So, for theory number 3...
Yes.
Alice, would you like to kick us off there?
Riri Williams, a.k.a. Ironheart, who is getting her own show... I don't know. Rob, you can just, every time we're not sure, just flash up the poster and the date.
She's getting a show.
Slated to come out. Yeah, she's getting a show at some point, probably, I think, next year. And she's essentially young female Iron Man. And she is showing up here the first time, and she seems to be really good friends with
Shuri.
Shuri, yeah, with T'Challa's sister Shuri, who is also being slated for potentially being like the new Tony Stark, aka the one that provides all the weapons and cool gear for the wider MCU from
You mean
now on.
Shuri is going to be...
Shuri is,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd imagine that's kind of... She's almost going to mentor Riri. The theory is actually around how she'll be introduced, and I'm actually wondering if this might be the cold open. It might not be the cold open, but my theory is essentially that we will see a flashback, similar to how we saw Kate Bishop's intro to Hawkeye in Hawkeye. I think we're going to get something similar for Riri Williams regarding Iron Man.
I agree that that's probably going to happen. I actually don't think it's going to happen in this film. I think if anything, it's going to happen in Ironheart. I think her role in this movie will just be she's going to be part of the ensemble.
Show up.
Yeah, she's going to be part of the ensemble.
But she's making a suit in the trailer.
Is she?
She literally bangs out an Ironheart.
Oh yeah, she does, doesn't she? Yeah, I forgot about that.
The whole bit.
I was
and
too
people have already
concerned with
put
like
up
other
against
shit.
her her and then Tony Stark.
Yeah, I mean, like, but I think that it'll be more of like an incidental thing as part of this film's world, and not necessarily a focus on her. I don't think she's going to be like a central.
No, I don't think it's going to
figure.
be central, but I think like they're going to have to somehow explain why she's literally making herself an Iron Man suit.
Oh, I mean, like they're in Wakanda. They've got so much technology. We know.
But why would she
within
make herself an Iron Man suit? Why not a Black Panther suit?
You are correct there. I just don't like the idea of
You just don't like
shoving
Ironheart.
It's not that I don't like Ironheart. All right, I am totally open.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
He hates Ironheart.
I do not hate
Rob
Ironheart.
hates Ironheart.
I am fine. I'm sure Marvel will come up with a better version of the character than has ever been in the comics. That's what I'll say. Okay.
Oof. Well,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
I theorize we're going to see even it'll be like literally cold open, or just why do you care about Iron Man? Or I don't know, when I was a kid, I saw him save a woman, or he saved me, or whatever. And then that's how we're going to get our mini, which will then further get expanded on in the show.
Yeah.
So whether it's maybe in this one, she'll just talk about it, and then in the show, it'll show the flashback.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, they're going to have to address it, because otherwise she's just a rando.
See, the thing is, I hate to come back to this, but I just...
Do you though?
No, not really. But the thing is that given how self-contained the first film was, I just hate the idea of seeing the sequel have to be a universe building.
But it already
referring
is going to be.
movie.
But it is already
We don't
going
know
to be.
that for sure. We do not know that for sure. So I'd hate to think that Ryan Coogler's having to like twist the plot of his
Namor's
movie.
in it.
Yeah, but Namor's being introduced in this film, so as far as you could be concerned.
But if
it's
Doctor
just-
Doom is in it, wouldn't that be...
But that's an after credit scene. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. That's not part of
But
the
Riri
film.
Williams is already
That's not
in it,
part
though.
of-
She's already
yeah, that's
in
what
it.
I'm saying.
She's already getting that
This
show.
movie's is introducing new characters, but that's why I think Coogler's just going to introduce these characters as part of the ensemble that he's dealing with, and that if you were to never watch Ironheart or never see a Namor movie, it wouldn't matter because he's introducing them in this film, and it's a self-contained movie.
It's going to have to connect.
I don't think it
No,
does.
you know why it
I
especially
don't
has
think
to
it
connect?
does.
You know why especially it has to connect? It's the final film in this phase.
Is it the final film?
Yeah,
in this
they've
phase?
announced it. It's the final film of Phase 4. So it has to connect. It has to. It has to. They can't make the final film not connect. That wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. Well, now that Rob's already getting mad, let's just go over to your theory.
Yep.
Your next theory, I should say,
Yep.
which is...
I think that we will be introducing, again, as part of the ensemble in some way.
Ensemble.
I think it's possible we could be introducing Aurora Monroe, otherwise known as Storm, in this film, potentially. Now, the reason being is because Storm is incredibly tied to the Black Panther lore. T'Challa and Storm are actually married, or were married for a very long time in the comics. They're love interests of each other. Given how tied she is to the Black Panther lore, I think, if you're going to force Ryan Coogler to seed some extra
Oh,
stuff to the
okay. So
universe.
hang on. So
No.
you're not allowed to do it unless it's one that you like.
No. I'm saying I'm totally fine with Riri Williams being in this film, but I don't think that they're going to be like referring back to Iron Man. I don't want them to. And if they're going to be introducing Namor and introducing Storm, you could have it just be they're part of the ensemble. That's what I keep saying. They're just part of the ensemble of this film.
Part of the ensemble.
Yeah.
It won't make sense, but whatever. Anyway.
Yes.
But Storm. So you think Storm's going to be in this?
I mean, I think if we have to make theories, which apparently we do, it's the name of the video. That's a theory that I can throw out there because it is a comic book thing.
Is she from a neighboring country?
She's from Kenya.
Kenya. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, and that's a neighboring country, yeah.
I think so. I mean,
How neighboring is that? Continent's
I mean,
pretty big.
I geographically
All right,
I don't know
Rob,
where Wakanda is.
You're going to get a picture of Africa.
So
and then you're going to do a little outline where Kenya is and then whereabouts Wakanda would be if it exists.
So you want me to locate a fictional country?
Yes.
Okay.
Wouldn't it have to be Alexandra Shipp?
Who?
No. Who played her in the other movie?
There's a lot of things I
All
need
right,
to put up on
Rob,
the
you're gonna-
screen.
Whoever played her in the
We're
movie.
not very well prepared for this theory video.
We never are. We got the name wrong in Lightyear. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll move on
Yeah.
to the final theory, and potentially the one that will cause the most arguing, which is one I had off the cuff. So we had the trailer, right? And Rob will, I'm sure, show a clip of the bit I'm talking about. The very last part of the trailer is you see someone in the Black Panther suit, okay? And I've looked at that still for a while, but when I first saw it, first of all, it seems to be the gold one. And who do we know that likes the gold Black Panther suit? And what is this saga called, Rob? Can you please enlighten me as to what this saga has been called now as of Comic-Con?
It's called the Multiverse Saga.
What was that for those in the back?
It's called the Multiverse Saga.
The Multiverse Saga. And what do we know about the multiverse? What have we already seen about the multiverse is that there's variants of every freaking character in the entire, cinematic universe. So, my theory is that given that we already know about the multiverse, and we already know about variants, and we already specifically know about variants of both T'Challa and his cousin, Killmonger, my theory is that there's a variant of Killmonger, so Michael B. Jordan will show up in the movie, even just briefly, just for a battle, whatever it is, and he will be the one donning the Black Panther suit we see in the clip. No, I'm not saying he's going to be Black Panther. Yeah. I'm not saying anything like that. Although, again, that might also make sense because then somebody can don the suit, somebody who people have already connected with and like, and also Michael B. Jordan is like...
Yeah, now, so to be clear, because I can see, obviously, people are wondering, why is Rob against this? Now,
yeah, why is Rob
I
against
love
this?
Michael B. Jordan.
Want to know.
I love Michael B. Jordan.
Who doesn't?
I love his performance as Killmonger. Mm-hmm. I love it so much that
you don't want it to be touched.
I don't want it to be.
But it's already been touched in What If.
Yeah, but that doesn't fucking count.
Yes, it does.
No one cares about What If. What if?
Everyone, it has already influenced other movies.
He was in one of the worst episodes of What If.
He's also in the finale of What If.
I can't even remember.
He's
I
part
think
of
I
the
checked out at
team.
that point. But I think the fact is that the scene where he dies is so powerful and was so meaningful to that film. I don't want that moment to be cheapened, and I think that Ryan Coogler wouldn't either. So I don't see...
But he might not have, it's a different world now. Black Panther
was a huge box office champion and a huge Oscar contender.
And who was
it was a cultural moment.
And
it was a cultural moment, and people who didn't, it worked for people who, don't even like comic book movies. People who don't even like comic book movies seem to like that film.
How is having Killmonger come back against that?
Because they're going to have to make this movie for that audience. People who are just there to see the sequel to the cultural moment that was the first movie. And I think by having Killmonger show up as a variant of himself, people are going to watch it and be like, the fuck's going on? Because not everybody's a nerd like us who watches every single thing.
But once again, it is the final movie in the phase. Mm-hmm. So it has to have an element connecting to the wider saga.
I don't want no multiverse crap in this film. I don't want it.
Rob,
I don't want it.
It is a fucking MCU movie. It needs to MCU. It needs to It needs to be in the CU.
Oh.
But I think it's still going to have a whole story that'll play out with Atlantis and with Namor, and that's all going to be
And then all of a sudden we just have a portal open and then Killmonger comes through.
I think that Shuri is going to figure it out and be like, we need someone to don the suit.
Oh, that
I know
sounds
science.
awful.
I'm the new Tony Stark. I have
Why isn't she the new Black Panther? Canonically,
okay, well, this
she
is my
became
question.
Black Panther in the comics when T'Challa hung up the claws, and she's
She can't be both
She's
the
the
new
next in
Tony's-
line for the throne anyway, and whoever's on the throne is the Black Panther.
Yes. However, from that screen grab, it doesn't look like that's Letitia Wright.
Maybe it's M'Baku from the Gorilla Tribe. I mean, he wants the Black Panther crown. We know that. He was fighting for it.
It's too bad Daniel Kaluuya isn't potentially in this, because it'd be cool to have him be like a proper superhero.
Yeah.
It's too bad they made him an asshole in the last one.
Yeah. It's sort of a waste of like one of the best actors working today.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Which I feel like he might have done it on purpose, because he was like, I'm good to just be
in the one
in
film.
the one.
Yeah, but no, I think it could be Winston Duke. My main concern is that the first Black Panther film was so good and so important as a film that I think it would be a horrible mistake to just have it be a cog in the multiverse building
Rob,
machine.
you have to get over it. It's going to be. I think this needs to be the one that's like, okay, it's the end of this phase. We're going into the next phase. This is that bottleneck. This is, so we've had this, if you think about it as a huge funnel, it's just been this whole thing of content. And then this movie is the big one, is going to finally create a direction. And I think it has to do that for phases 5 and 6 to work. Especially considering that phase 6, or potentially still phase 5, I don't know what phase the Avengers movies are in, but that's going to be an insane year. 2 Avengers movies in the same year?
Dangerous.
Very insane. Like, what does that even mean? So I think that, and it's also called the multiverse saga. So we're going to have a bit of multiverse going on. So it has to somehow make it make sense. That's what this movie needs to do. In addition to all of the Black Panther elements.
Okay. You say this is what it needs to do. I guess ultimately, I don't want it to do that. I want this film to be
Black Panther.
I want it to be a powerful, emotional, and interesting film to a sequel to Black Panther. That's what I want it to be. And unless, if there has to be multiverse stuff in there, unless they handle it as well as Everything Everywhere All at Once, it will not be good.
Who's to say it won't?
But that's what I'm saying. If you got to do the multiverse stuff, this is the bar I think it's going to have to hit for me to not be annoyed at this film. That's where it's gonna. That's where we've ended up. You've made me potentially hate the sequel to my favorite MCU film, and I don't know whether to be mad at you, or to be mad at Marvel, or to be mad at this edit that I'm going to have to watch back.
You're such a grumpy old man, Rob. You're such. Anyway. Rob's got his emotional support animal back. And Rob, that has since calmed down and is behind the edit, can you please list the 5 theories as I list them now? So, here they are in order. Number 1, T'Challa's passing. How will they address it? Will they address it? Etc. Number 2, Doctor Doom / Latveria after credit scene or not. Number 3, Riri flashes back. Will it happen? Origin story. Who knows? Number 4, Storm blows in. The mutant finally makes an appearance. And then finally, number 5, Killmonger ? Who's Black Panther ? And also just the whole thing about multiversing, but mostly the Killmonger thing.
Please don't do it. Just don't.
And with that, I think I need to let Rob have a little lie down with his emotional support animal.
That's okay. Okay. Well, I mean, happily, my legs don't work right now because I'm so stressed. So I'll stay here for the sign off. I can even do it if you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Thank you for taking a break with Clean Slate. Remember to do all the YouTube relevant things like liking and smashing the subscribe button if you haven't.
Smash that subscribe.
Yeah.
Notification
was that
bell.
correct? Was that right?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know. We've never done it. We're not very good YouTubers.
Not really, no.